Jack Welch said, "Face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it to be." Warren Buffett said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." Hi, I am Juan Navarro. This is Advanced Quality Programs, and I invite you to explore the concepts of quality with me to apply them to our lives. Today, we are going to talk about how to eliminate the causes of a deviation. This step consists of contrasting the results already obtained with the initial situation. The goal is to verify whether the steps we have taken so far have been effective eliminating the causes conclusively. In other words, contrast the current situation against the initial one. As we anticipated in the previous edition, our intention is to identify patterns and trends. What's a trend? Within the field of statistics, it is considered that if a statistical sample presents a series of measurements in sequence that are each time showing a specific behavior in the same direction, this is a trend. Technically, 7 measurements in increasing, decreasing, or linear sequence. Using as a reference the behavior of a trend, all the cases within the sample, we can make a statistical calculation that could help us to predict by the means of probability a certain behavior, and this will show always based on the data of the universe within the same sample. The word tendency comes from the Latin tendere, which means to extend. Socially, it is defined as a current of or preference by which a universe of people links under certain conditions. It consists of a predisposition that certain groups have towards a specific situation or a specific way of thinking, understanding, or reasoning a particular aspect or thought. What is a pattern? A pattern, more specifically, a pattern of conduct, corresponds to norms that serve as guides to predispose the response action to certain circumstances. The way in which a human being acts, whether in the way of action or feeling, is governed by a series of external factors that are considered acceptable within these environment conditions, and these behaviors are learned through the interaction with society and the environment. This means that various groups where any human being grows will ultimately condition the behaviors in response to the environment. Therefore, there is always a predisposition to assume certain conclusions while facing the countless experiences that we encounter on our daily lives. This tendency will help us to prevent unsatisfying situations and predispose to the most favorable conditions. How these concepts will help us? Well, as we said when we started this series of episodes, our actions and conclusions, also the improvements, must be based on facts and figures, based on the records and measurements we made in a repeatable and reproducible way throughout the process. As you can imagine, our pattern usually predisposes our actions and conclusions based on the past experiences and beliefs. As we said in the previous episodes, we know this behavior as confirmation bias. Our task in this step is to use our data to eliminate those influences. The concept of trend helps us to confirm and verify our assumptions. If, as we said in the previous step, you regularly recorded your results, at this moment you will be able to identify within your universe of data a series of measurements increasing or decreasing. When they show at least 7 records or instances, you will have identified a trend that you can statistically rely on. In English, if you have waked daily and each day of the week you have waked less than the previous one, you have clear downward trend. Likewise, if you start on Monday taking records and each day you record a kilo more, and then the next one and the next one until you reach Sunday. Then the following Monday you will have confirmed a rising 10 supporting this. What does this mean? When you made your hypothesis, these were based on the patterns and preconditions you already had. Statistics and statistical trends are a strong argument to confirm whether the results are based on facts or in preconditions. Suppose that your hypothesis was that replacing sugar with sweetener would help you to lose weight. And then you started with this action on Sunday. On Monday, you weighed 1 more gram. Then on Tuesday, another one. And so far and so forth, until the next Monday, you had almost gained 8 grams of overweight. Ultimately, your hypothesis that replacing sugar with sweetener will help you to lose weight was incorrect based on the statistical data that show otherwise. As we said, in all the previous steps, the goal is to measure your results, always confront them with the reality. There is an old saying, everything that is not measured does not improve. This step is known in the industry as a verification, and common requirement is to gather enough data and information to verify that the action has eliminated the cause definitely with a positive trend of at least 3 months. Why? Because sometimes the environment plays an important role. For example, changes in humidity, temperature, the amount of light. All these are factors that have an influence on our system, and therefore it is necessary to keep that in mind. One of my mentors told me how in one occasion he was called to repair a bridge that, because of the vibration, had released one of the huge joints that served to secure the loads, putting that complete structure at risk. The problem was that the poles did not seem to reach the distance again needed to screw them back again to the structure. The team could not identify the cause for this deviation. Then, after a small analysis, he asked to wait until midnight and try this procedure again. However, that team didn't want to wait and try to finish this earlier, and no matter how much effort they put, they could not adjust the loads again. So ultimately they had to wait until the recommendation happened. At midnight they tried this again, and without much effort they successfully managed to reattach the structure. What was the reason? Well, this is quite simple. During the day the heat dilates the bodies, therefore the distance between these elements increases. At midnight, on the contrary, the reduction in temperature causes the bodies to contract. Therefore, the distance between these elements is reduced, although it's imperceptible to the human eye. Many times, our senses can devise us. That is why always it's better to have data that can prove our theories. Did you know that the height of the Eiffel Tower varies 15 centimeters throughout the day? Now, this shows that our preconceptions not always are enough. We need data to support them. The challenge this week is to identify within your actions to improve that one that proves different results to your initial hypothesis, and keep it there to talk about the standardization next week. This was all for this week. If you like that video, hit like, and I will thank all of your comments, your subscription to the channel, and I will leave you with a quote from Michael Phelps. I can only control my own performance. If I give my best, then I can feel good at the end of the day. Don't forget to hit the bell, and see you next week.